Welcome to Frost Astrophotography. In this video I will show you a quick edit of Barnard 33, the Horsehead Nebula. I actually captured the Horsehead Nebula about a month ago, or finished the processing, and I haven't really made a video on it, so I thought I would revisit and show you a couple of quick processing steps. The Horsehead Nebula, or Barnard 33, is located about 1,375 light years from Earth and in the constellation of Orion, very close to the Great Orion Nebula. For this capture I used 24 light frames with S2 filter, 35 light frames with H-alpha filter, and 35 light frames with the O3 filter, all in 300 seconds, and that is 5 minutes of exposure time, giving me a total integration time of 7.8 hours. Before I take you through the processing steps, I thought I'd show you a single light frame with the H-alpha filter. And here you can see a 300 second light frame with the H-alpha filter. And since I'm using the ASI294MM Pro, you also see the amp glow to the right here. After the first pre-processing steps, I have calibrated and aligned and combined all of my light frames. And this is my input master light frames. H-alpha, I've only done a small dynamic crop on this one. And my O3, the same dynamic crop. And my S2 with the same dynamic crop as well. And some of these light frames are not the best of quality, and I also have some serious halos going on in my S2 and some in my O3 as well. But I'm guessing that that is pretty common with this target, since we have very bright stars in the vicinity. So I followed my normal processing routines. I will include a link to my 4-part PixInsight processing tutorial for those of you that want to have these steps explained in detail. But I always start with a dynamic background extraction, and I will open my input master light for comparison. So this is with the dynamic background extraction, and to the right is without. After that, I just did a linear fit, and you won't see any difference in this in regards to the dynamic background extraction, since I've used the H-alpha as a reference, and I executed the dynamic or the linear fit on the O3 and S2 frames. After that, I ran deconvolution just to ever so slightly sharpen the entire image, and also reduce the stars a little bit, as you can see here. And after that, I did some noise reduction on the image. But again, you won't see that very big of a difference. We can zoom in on the Horsehead, and that might enable you to see some differences in the image. The one on the right is the original stacked or integrated master, and the left is the processed and you can see that it is a bit smoother, the stars is a bit smaller, and the overall details a bit sharper. And that basically concluded my first processing in the linear stage. For the non-linear stage, I usually prefer to edit my image without stars. So I made a starless version of the all three, I would say. I'm only showing you the H alpha now, just for comparison, but I did this procedure for all three. And I also saved the H alpha stars, since I'm going to use that later on. The next step is to combine the three light frames into SHO. I'm going to show you just for comparison. I also tried an HOO integration, and that looks like this. I also did, just for the fun of it, an SHOO integration, and that turned out like that, like this. And those these two on the screen now, they're not processed in any way, just the first linear phase and then integrated. But I decided to go with the SHO integration. And here you also can see the O3 and the S2 versions in a starless state. So this is the original integration of SHO. I'm going to put that aside. I'm opening up the first manipulation or processing that I made, and that is to run the SNR to remove the greenish tint in the image, and also the magenta tint that you can see on the stars here. Before I did that, I also made two color masks, one in magenta and one in yellow, to be used later on to adjust the colors in the image. It's important that you do these two before running any processing steps on the image. I can quickly demonstrate how you get the right image to the left image just by using SCNR. Let me close that one, and I'll take this and I will open SCNR. I will have it set to green and 0.8. That is a good number, I think. I will execute it on the image. You can see that we got rid of a lot of the green, or almost everything, but we still have the magenta here. And for that, we're going to invert the image. We're going to change the amount to 1 and run it again. You can see that there's green. And now the green has been removed, and we can invert the image back. And now you can see that we have the result that we want. So I'm just going to revert back to the original state. So the next step is to use my color mask and adjust the colors ever so slightly. The one on the right is the original, the one on the left is the new. I went for a bit of a colder look in the image, and I reduced the yellow here, as you can see. The next step is to use the multiscale linear transformation tool to bring out some details in the image. And after that, I used an unsharpened mask to sharpen the image. And the last step is to use TGV denoise to remove some noise in this image. And in this image, I have reintroduced the HA stars that I saved earlier when running the StarNet 2. And if I compare that to the original unprocessed for these steps, you can see that I've also edited some of the curves and levels in the image just to make the contrast stick out a bit more. There are of course other options that you can do. You can start off with the HOO or the SHOO. You can also introduce the SHO stars that some people do, but I find the HA stars to be very pleasing for the eye. And I also have reduced the stars a little bit. So I hope you will enjoy the image, and thank you so much for watching. If you like these videos, consider subscribing to my channel. And until the next video, I wish you have some clear skies.